Most people can't answer that question when I ask them, what do you want? They can answer it, but with negatives. I don't want to be in debt anymore. Okay, you just told me what you don't want. What do you want? I want the debt to be gone. Okay, you want more money. The minute I say that, well, no, it's not about the money. Have you ever experienced something like that in your life? Because I can tell you that I am guilty. And I want to share with you the biggest aha for me was when, with my own personal journey of paying off $282,000 in debt within 3 years. And then when the debt was gone, instead of quickly compounding money and building ridiculous amounts of wealth, which on paper that should have happened because my husband and I were collectively making, at that time when the debt was paid off, we were collectively making over $300,000 a year. And we needed about $60,000 a year to live. We paid off the debt in 2023, and now fast forward, it's 2026. And rather than having millions in compounded interest in investments and passive income, that's not the case. And so when I started breaking this down, it became apparent that my desire, I felt when I was paying off the debt, was worthy. I owed student loan companies money. It was my responsibility to pay it off. The flip to that is when I don't owe anyone any money, who am I to say that I need more money? And there I went. Wait, but this isn't a need. It's a want. And then the shame came in from, why don't you just appreciate what you have? But if I want to build the nonprofit, if I want to give back to my community, if I want to be able to help my family, if I want my children to not have to go into debt to go to college, then I need more money. The need came in again. I could not allow myself to want money without feeling bad. So that's the thing. If there is something that you want, when you step into that want, you have to be willing to feel the feeling of wanting it. And that includes all of it. And so I'm going to kind of break this down for you so you can understand how I unpacked this in my own life. And where does this come from? Well, society talks a lot about rich people being bad, about how can this person live in a mansion when so many others are homeless. There's a moral, ethical, massive discussion around money. And so I, like most people that have never lived in extreme wealth, felt bad at the thought that I'm going to now go and create more money while I know some of my brothers and sisters in Christ are struggling. Do you see where that creates a disconnect? I don't even like the word rich. I still don't like that word. I don't want to be rich. In fact, that is something that I'm still working on. Because the dreams that I have, the desires that I have, the wants that I have spoken with the multi-million-dollar investors. They say, you need a shit ton of money to do that. And here I am, uncomfortable with that being a want. So this boils down to how we're raised, what the environment was like when we grew up in. And basically, if you have an experience of life, of your childhood, where your needs and wants were not met by your caretaker, caregiver, and instead you felt the responsibility or the role to meet theirs because they lacked the emotional intelligence, lacked the emotional awareness, lacked the independent ability to regulate their nervous system. So that if you lived in an environment where everyone had to behave in order for dad to be happy, grades had to be great in order for mom to say, good job. I'm not saying this is necessarily my story. There's plenty to my story, but I'm not here to air all that today. I'm giving you examples. If you grew up with a parent who was depressed, which depression in and of itself is the repeated suppression and repression of emotions, both negative and positive emotions. So again, not allowing the want to be happy, not allowing the want to experience sadness. And so there's this disconnect. And so children, as brains are being formed, we're watching to these adults. How are they coping? Are they drinking? Are they smoking? Are they yelling? Are they sleeping? Are they eating too much? Are they partying? Are they escaping? Are they going away on trips? Are they hiring babysitters every day and every weekend? How are they coping with that lost job, or with that relationship tension, or with that bad health news, or with the child that's struggling with a substance abuse problem? How are they coping with that? And what is your role in that? Where do you fall in the line? Because your needs and wants are actually the primary responsibility for your caregiver, because your brain is not yet developed to understand that. And so I am just now in the phases over the past 6 months or so, because when I realized manifestation was easy for me when I was paying off debt, because I felt that was good. But manifestation for building wealth, if I have manifested at the same rate I did when I paid off debt, I'd have a few million by now. The fact of the matter is I'm not, because my desire isn't clear. And that comes from my inability to allow myself to want. It's fascinating. I'll ask women to tell me what they want. One client said, I have no idea. When was the last time I thought about what I wanted? And so this is after she had listed off she doesn't want to live in the house that they live in anymore because she feels isolated from friends and people. It's at the top of a mountain. She doesn't want to drink every day she comes home from work because it's not healthy and she ends up feeling like crap the next day. She doesn't want to smoke because she feels like, how is she to be a healthcare professional when she's not doing the things that are healthy for her body? She doesn't want to work in a place with people that don't align with her values. These are the things I don't want, I don't want, I don't want. So I said, well, what do you want? So when we're thinking about moving our life forward, making change, creating possibility, I highly encourage you to dig into want. So for example, if she doesn't want to live in a house on the top of the mountain, isolated away from people, let's flip that. I want to live in the city. Okay, so then we dug into why are we not allowing that want? Well, she's not allowing that want because the home that they live in is paid for. It was passed down by family members. And so there's these feelings of obligation, responsibility that are there. So when we don't allow ourselves to want, then we build resentment. So there's two options there. You either fall in love with the thing you do have, or you fall in love with finding a way to want what you want and make it okay. That it's not going against your family, that it's not disrespecting the fact that it's paid for. It's not, in fact, it's taking a financial investment and turning it into revenue, possibility. And so then if you don't want to work at a place where people don't share your same ethics and values, is it okay to want to work somewhere else? Well, She wasn't okay with that because she had agreed to work at this place. And she felt like she'd be letting them down. And she'd spent a lot of money in education, time, all these things were invested into her getting this job. And so she wasn't allowing herself to want different because, again, the obligation, the role, the responsibility that she had placed on herself prevented that want from being okay. And so that want was then leading to resentment and internal shame. And this is the thing that I am super guilty of, is finding ways to shame myself for wanting something different. Now, there's a difference between want and craving. And this is where I really got interested because there would be things like ice cream would pop in my head and I'd be like, oh, it's a want. Actually, no, it was a craving because until I had the thing, I was not going to be okay. This is back when I was dealing with binging behaviors and drinking too much and eating too much. And I was doing all of this in secrecy and behind closed doors. And there's a lot that was going on here. But one, it was because I thought it wasn't okay to want ice cream when you're trying to lose weight. Who am I to want the thing that's extra calories that isn't going to get me closer to my goals? So then I would hide it. And it would turn into this craving. And I literally would not be okay until I ate the ice cream. It became an addiction. This boils down to our ability to express and experience emotions. And so wanting the ice cream was the aha in my head of, I'm saying I want ice cream, but I know the identity of myself as the person who's working on weight loss doesn't want ice cream. So what the hell is that? Why do I have these competing priorities? For this particular scenario, the one that I'm thinking about, the day that I wanted the ice cream, and I was in this internal war and battle with myself, looking back and actually doing the work on it, I realized it wasn't ice cream that I wanted. I wanted to feel good. I wanted to feel whole and complete. I wanted something to make me feel better because I had heard some news about someone that I love that wasn't good, that they were suffering. And so two things. One, I was resisting the suffering. The suffering showed up and I thought, oh, I got to fix this. That was problem number one. Problem number two, fix this, feel better, overcome the suffering, meant feel good. Can't feel good. They're suffering. I can't feel good. I can't feel good unless they're feeling good. Who am I to want to do that? So then becomes the other thing. Let's make this about ice cream, food. Because now we're going to punish ourselves for wanting to feel good when someone else is suffering. Because if your parent didn't know how to feel good, allow feeling good while bad things were going on in the world, you learned it's not okay to want to feel good when bad things are happening. The reason you think it's not okay to feel good while bad things are happening is because you don't also think that it's okay to feel bad. All emotions are off limits. Feeling, we're not doing that. We are not doing that. So want and desire, when you nail this, when you're able to listen, allow, and be, and sit, and embrace, and see the goodness in your wants and desires, you then are driven along the path to make that happen. It's magic. And so since unlocking this for me, money has become so much easier. I don't have the same barriers in the way. I used to blame it because I'd say, well, when I was manifesting before, I had a 9-to-5 job until someone said, people with a job don't make lots of money manifesting. And I said, what do you mean? They said, they're at the mercy of their company. And I said, but the company has nothing to do with my money. Money it's energy. It's coming and going. The manifestations didn't come from the company. They came from all over the world and just random ass places. And they said, and now as an entrepreneur, you have even more freedom because you're not capped at a paycheck. I went, oh my gosh, I am the block. I'm not allowing myself to want it. Money is not bad. Money in the hands of good people makes this world a much better place. And now I'm on a mission because I know my heart is pure. And I work with women all the time with pure hearts, big hearts. And until we allow ourselves to want this, we cannot rise in the ranks to those that are making decisions right now that are impacting how our country is run, how future generations are going to live, the state of our children's futures. We need a whole lot more money if we want to be at that level of influence. We need feminine energetics and power. But in order to get there, we got to be able to hold our wants and desires. Allow them to exist. Feel them. If this video spoke to you, please like it, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you'd like to hear more of. Tap into those wants and desires. If you need help doing that, reach out. I've got lots of programs, lots of things. I'm a coach, and I'm happy to share with you what works. I understand the brain and body, and I'm actively working through my own stuff now, which is actually 100 times harder than it is helping someone else.